The Temple Mount is in our hands. We are in Jerusalem, and we are here to...
Benjamin Netanyahu disappears from the public stage, no press conferences, no cameras, only to reappear beneath one of the most contested places on earth, Al-Aqsa. But this is not a military operation, no rifles, no riot gear. Instead, he is flanked by archaeologists, engineers, rabbis, men who walk softly, their footsteps echoing through a corridor carved from stone. Dust rises as they descend deeper. The air feels older here, as if they've stepped into another century. A steel gate groans open, revealing a chamber below. They file in, heads low, lights tight. These are not tourists. They carry folders, blueprints, scans and orders, so quiet they sound like whispers. A map is pinned to the wall, lines crisscross. Circles mark rooms that no one has seen in 2,000 years. No journalists are present, no television crews are waiting. This visit is not meant for headlines, it's meant for history. The kind of history that is written long before the world realizes it's happening. Netanyahu steps toward a carved stone platform set deep into the bedrock. An archaeologist, voice calm but charged with meaning, confirms it. This matches the ancient plans. Above them, Jerusalem moves as usual. Below, the past and the future now share the same floor. The tunnels stretch outward like veins, each one leading deeper into a choice that could change the world Netanyahu breathes in. Nods once, and the work begins, but this moment did not begin here. Days before this secret descent, there was another meeting even more private. Not in the cassette, not in any government office, but in a sealed chamber near the Davidson Center, just south of the Temple Mount. Bare walls, no windows, a single table lit by a single lamp. Gathered, there were Israel's chief rabbis, Temple Institute leaders, senior IDF czars, and a handful of top archaeologists. At the far end, Saturday, foreign observers from Europe and the United States, listening in silence. On the table, ancient parchments, satellite images, ground-penetrating scans. The archaeologists spoke first. What had been suspected for decades was now proven. Beneath the dome of the rock lies a platform carved straight from the bedrock, perfectly matching descriptions from the First Temple period. Some believe it to be the very foundation stone of Solomon's temple. The room shifted. One IDF advisor warned that this could ignite unrest. Netanyahu leaned forward, his words measured and deliberate. "We are not building over. We are building beneath. And if we wait any longer, we deny history itself." No press conference followed. No public vote was held. Within days, teams were entering the tunnels under armed guard. The entrance they used was hidden behind an unmarked gate near the western wall tunnels. Guards waved them through without a word. Down a narrow shaft, the air turned cold. Light danced across walls, still bearing the marks of chisels from centuries past. What tourists see of the Temple Mount is only a fraction of its reality. Below lies a labyrinth, tunnels, chambers, columns, some natural, some cut by hand to bear the weight of a temple that once stood above. In one of the largest chambers, Netanyahu paused as engineers pointed to fresh steel reinforcements along the ceiling. The ancient stone and the new steel stood side by side, past and present, welded together. Then they showed him the block, massive, perfectly cut. Its edges too exact to be accidental. Archaeologists believed it to be part of the original foundation described in 1 Kings, the very stone on which Solomon's temple was laid. Maps were rolled out, showing planned restoration projects already aligned with the measurements of Ezekiel 40:43. Here, scripture wasn't just being read, it was being measured, cubit by cubit, into stone. But that wasn't all. The latest scans revealed something else: a sealed chamber deeper than any mapped tunnel. Its entrance was blocked by stones older than the Second Temple itself. For years, experts had dismissed it as a natural void. But the newest imaging told a different story. This chamber had symmetry, structure. Its dimensions matched an ancient legend debated for centuries, where crews moved carefully, clearing stone by hand, each fragment catalogued and scanned. When the last stone fell away, they peered into darkness. Dust swirled like smoke in the beams of their lamps. The chamber was perfectly square, its floor slightly sunken, its walls etched with faint, ancient markings. Netanyahu said nothing. His eyes scanned the chamber as if weighing both its promise and its danger. Then came the scrolls. Not ceremonial copies, but precise blueprints. Ezekiel 40:43, line by line, measurements of courts, gates, and walls written nearly 2,600 years ago. An engineer traced the diagrams with his finger, the inner court here, the outer court here. The dimensions matched almost too perfectly. Netanyahu's silence was his answer. They would not replace the mosque. They would build beneath it, prophecy layered over history. But the question remained, what would they place here? For decades, explorer Ron Wyatt's claims had been dismissed. His insistence that the Ark of the Covenant lay hidden beneath the Temple Mount, sealed until the appointed time, but the scans showed chambers exactly where Wyatt said they would be, dimensions matched, location matched, and one chamber, Saturday just beyond the newly opened square room. The team stopped at its entrance. Thick stone sealed it tight. Its surface bore markings that matched Wyatt's notes. No one spoke the word Ark, but every man in the chamber thought it. The engineers marked the spot and sealed the chamber once again. But while work continued in secrecy, another part of Jerusalem had been preparing for decades. Inside the Temple Institute, objects waited in glass cases, a golden menorah, the table of showbread, priestly garments of white and blue, the altar of incense. These were not museum pieces. Every item had been crafted to exact biblical specifications, waiting for the moment they would once again be used. And recently, sources reported some of those objects had been moved. Witnesses claimed to see crates under heavy guard being lowered into restricted tunnels. This isn't rehearsal anymore, one insider whispered. For centuries, the phrase "next year in Jerusalem" was a prayer. When whispers finally leaked, the world reacted fast. The United Nations called an emergency session, warning that unilateral action on the Temple Mount could ignite global chaos. The Vatican urged respect for all holy sites. Iran and Turkey called it desecration. Protests erupted, but then came a surprise. Inside Israel, the news divided the nation. Some saw destiny, others saw disaster. Netanyahu's office said nothing, confirming and denying nothing. But the world knew the truth. The mount had shifted from symbol to flashpoint, and when the day comes that the full plan is revealed, Jerusalem's balance could tip overnight. Christians worldwide saw these reports not as politics, but as prophecy. Pastors opened Daniel 9:27, warning that the covenant, the sacrifices, and the final rise of a world ruler could be approaching. Others pointed to 2 Thessalonians 2-4. The Antichrist would sit in the temple, proclaiming himself to be God. If the foundations were truly being laid, then the clock of Daniel's 70th week had begun to tick. Above ground, Jerusalem looked unchanged. Tourists took photos. Pilgrims prayed at the Western Wall. Life went on, but below the surface, something had already begun. Supports gleamed in the torchlight. And somewhere, beyond a sealed doorway, the object that could shake the world still waited in the dark. Netanyahu walked back through the tunnel, his footsteps the only sound. Above ground, cameras flashed, questions flew. He said nothing. That night, lights burned late across Jerusalem. The next move will not be announced. It will be seen